Hey pals and gals, we're doing this one outside today, this wonderful May 2007 question and answer Patreon, because Stacy's a little under the weather and my heart aches for her, but we're gonna give this one a go. It's a beautiful day, birds are chirping, life is blooming, and you've got questions and I've got answers. Let's get to it. What are you most looking forward to when you arrive and visit Savannah? Well, I'm a little hungry right now, so my answers are prejudiced by that. So my first thing that comes to mind, of course, along with seeing the sights, the lovely, squares, and of course the high teas of Savannah, and of course getting to see Rocky and Abigail again and working on our wedding script. Wall's Barbecue. I've heard magical things about Wall's Barbecue. And of course, Susanna Ray's gourmet popcorn. I love my gourmet popcorn. Kettle corn. Oh, I've got to have some of that. The closest thing to a child you ever had. I never really owned any pets. I have had pets foisted upon me, and those have not had very successful results, but I've never really owned a pet for a long term. My siblings have had pets, and I've been around them, but I guess the closest thing I've ever considered a child has been, sort of people I've taken under my belt, or when I was in charge of special populations, a group of children that I was in charge of. I think there's been times in my life, many times, where I've made people, my project, for the largest part. What's the creakiest part of your body, and how do you love on it? These days, it tends to be my middle back and the shoulder blade. My pinky finger right here, and both sides of my hand, and then also my ankles. And I tend to stretch them daily, to be very patient with them, because otherwise it gets very stiff and creaky. But that's part of getting older. Now, what's the most interesting TED Talk you've ever watched? Personal confession. I am not the biggest fan of TED Talks. I think they are very frustrating because, one, they're often used by people to sell shit. Two, they take very complicated ideas and they condense them to these really itty-bitty symposiums of, really difficult idea, really simple solution. And they make people just come away with this idea, these platitudes, that a complicated notion can be condensed into something so obvious. But it's not. It's a lifetime of research and thinking and implementation, and I think that's very deceptive. Having said that, the person who asked this question sent me a video of how to use a paper towel, which was wonderful, and it's great, and you should watch that one, how to use a paper towel. On the same vein, another one like that I love is called I Listen to Color by Neil Harbison. Neil is an artist who was born with a unique condition called, I'll say it correctly, achromatopsia, which means he was unable to actually see colors at birth. And what that meant was, he later on as an adult worked with a doctor to have a surgical device implanted into his skull so that it shot electrical signals into his brain whenever color was available. So now when he goes into museums, when he sees a painting, he receives electrical transmissions, and that allows him some input as to what color is. I think that's really cool. I think that's a good TED Talk. Check it out. Last, questions for you. What's an unpopular opinion that you have about a summer pastime or activity? Second, what gets you out of a rut? Creatively, emotionally. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next month.